Today we're comparing arguably the two best phones of 2024, the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. If you're looking at one, you might also be considering the other, and I hope this video helps you out. They both retail for around the same price. The iPhone is a little bit cheaper at $11.99, which nets you 256 gigabytes of storage. The Galaxy S24 Ultra starts at $12.99, but they do have a promo right now, doubling the storage to 512. Now, the idea about these phones is that you get the biggest screen possible in a candy form factor, and they look very similar in a lot of ways in terms of the fact that they're just big phones, but they do have some differences in design elements, which I feel are interesting. For one, when you're buying the Galaxy S24 Ultra, you're buying a design that's very industrial. It's very clean. It's been simplified. The iPhone, looks like an iPhone. It's been the same design for quite some time now. Personally, I think the rounded off edges, the two-tone finish is a little classier on the iPhone, but there's really no wrong answer. Some people just prefer more of a minimal look. The height of the iPhone is slightly taller, but the Galaxy S24 Ultra is a little bit wider. And the reason why it's probably wider is due to the fact that you have an S Pen in the S24 Ultra that takes up space, but I imagine if it didn't come with one, the phone would be just as wide or even smaller. The thickness is very equal, but the iPhone is slightly thinner, not by much. We're splitting hairs, but there is a difference. Both phones are IP68 water resistant. You do have a new button on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the camera control feature, which I'll talk to you about shortly, but the S Pen also acts as a tool to activate your camera. So not only can you do Harry Potter things with it, but you can use it to snap photos. You do have some sort of functionality with it. And that's the thing with the S24 Ultra. Like if you're a hardcore pen user, there's really no other device out there that's as good as this. Like it just has all the features you'd want to utilize that pen. Thanks to Taurus for sponsoring this part of the video and sending over some great cases. Now my top pick is the Taurus O-Stand 360 spin case. It's slim, made from durable silicone, and has strong 18N magnetic lock for MagSafe. Way stronger than Apple's silicone case. What I love most is the O-shaped ring, which Taurus originally designed. It sits flat against the case but pops out and rotates 360 degrees. It's perfect for standing your phone in any position, plus it works as a grip to keep your phone secure in your hand. The design is sleek with a great grip, and the cutouts make the camera easily accessible. It's got raised edges to protect the screen and camera, and best of all, 12-foot military-grade drop protection. But don't forget a screen protector. The Taurus Glasgow X is scratch resistant, easy to install, and can handle drops up to 12 feet. Grab both for complete protection. Links to everything will be in the description down below. But the one thing that I truly love about the S24 Ultra display is the fact they're using a matte coating. This coating is not loved by everyone because it definitely reduces some of that vibrancy, but it's not by much. Like just having the ability to cut the reflections in half is huge. There's been in so many situations, whether I'm in a plane or outdoors or at the gym with lights going all over the place, where the reflection of a normal phone is a little bit more drastic compared to what you get with the Ultra. Just reducing that by half makes a big difference in terms of your viewing experience. The other thing is they both have 12 megapixel cameras. I like the style of both. I think they both did a good job with my skin tones, but the S24 Ultra definitely looks a bit sharper. Okay, right now you're looking at the front-facing cameras on the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Gonna look directly at the sun. Let's see which one handles the highlights better. Wow, that sky on the Samsung is just really blue. But yeah, you guys let me know which one has the better video and which one has the better microphone quality. But one thing both of these phones have absolutely nailed is the sound quality. There's some of the best external speakers you'll get on a phone. I'm gonna play a little example. You guys let me know which one you like better. Now for the 6.5 people out there who are thinking about buying the S24 Ultra but don't want to because they might miss out on camera control on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, I promise you, you have nothing to be worried about. The camera control button is a nice have, it's not a must have. If it didn't exist, I wouldn't even care. The only thing I really use it for is to load the camera and maybe take a quick photo. I find the 2-button layer approach to be cool in theory, but not practical. I don't find myself using it all. I just find it a lot quicker to use the display. Also, the placement of the camera control button is so low that it only feels comfortable in landscape mode. When you use the phone in portrait orientation, which I use mostly, it's so low that you have to hike the phone all the way up, and it just doesn't feel as good. But what is a big deal is the software experience, because they're very different. One is iOS and one is Android. Personally, I love the way notifications look and feel on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. The iPhone has come a long way in terms of customization. You can now change the colors of icons and the way they look, but you still get a lot more control on your Galaxy phone. Also, if you're a tinkerer, someone who's an enthusiast and wants to have the ability to split the displays or have more features on your phone, the Galaxy tends to gravitate towards that. But performance is always a question that's hard to answer, because I don't know how a lot of you guys use your phones. If you're just like a normal everyday user, both these phones are gonna feel ridiculously fast. Both of these phones are capable of playing the latest AAA titles for mobile phones, but the iPhone 16 Pro Max still has games that are better optimized for it. The good news though is that both of these phones will get a lot of updates. 7 years on the Galaxy device, Apple tends to update their devices for a very long time, so there's nothing to worry about in terms of future software updates. But battery life is a little different on both of these phones. I've seen a lot of battery drain tests. I find them funny to watch, but the majority of them tend to favor the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I think I've only seen like one or two, which the Galaxy phone beats out. But on my personal experience on day-to-day, these batteries are incredible. Even though technically the iPhone only has a 4680 milliamp hour battery, the Galaxy S24 has a 5000 milliamp hour battery. But I find that I'm able to squeeze out more with the iPhone. Like if I was to choose one to get maximum battery life with, I'd always gravitate towards the iPhone. But again, like battery life on both of these phones are so good. Like these are 1.5 day phones without any issues. The charging speeds are also kind of concerned, because I made this mistake and in my iPhone video told everybody that the iPhone can charge at 45 watts. Now this is technically kind of true. Like if you just plug it into a charger and do nothing else, it's probably not going to charge at 45 watts. It'll top out anywhere from like 18 to 29 watts. But if you play a game and charge it at the exact same time, it will increase the charging rate so that you won't lose any performance in the game you're playing, but still charge your battery at the exact same time. Now the big question, which phone has the better camera? Like look, both of these phones take fantastic photos. It really comes down to how you use them. But I will say that the S24 Ultra definitely gives you more tools. You got an extra lens, you have more focal lengths to play with. The main lens, for example, is 200 megapixels. Then you have a 10 megapixel 3x optical lens. Then you have a 50 megapixel 5x optical lens. And then an ultra wide camera that can shoot at 12 megapixels. The iPhone, on the other hand, is a 48 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto 5x, and then you have a 48 megapixel ultra wide lens. During the day, both of these phones take beautiful photos, but there are a couple of key differences. The S24 Ultra likes to exaggerate the colors a little bit, not by a lot. It's definitely toned it down over the years, but they're a bit more contrasty than the general phone out there. On top of all that, Samsung just likes to go ham on the skies. Like it's way too blue, and it looks good when you take it off the phone and you upload it to Instagram, but at the end of the day, this is not what the sky looks like when I was taking the photo. It was just exaggerated a bit too much. I do prefer the ultra wide lens on the S24 Ultra, and it's not noticeable during the day, and the lens itself is not as wide as the iPhones. Like this is a 0.6 times ultra wide lens compared to 0.5 times on the iPhone. But I do find it to be a bit more consistent with the colors it exposed and a little sharper. But if you're a maniac for telephoto and getting as close to the subject as possible, the S24 Ultra does a better job. Like you can zoom all the way up to 100 times if you really want to and peep on a person 3 kilometers away. But the digital benefit you get with that 200 megapixel camera is things look crispier. Like I did a comparison at 25 times, which it's the max length the iPhone can zoom, compared to 25 times on the S24 Ultra, and it just looked nicer on the Ultra because of that 200 megapixel lens. But nighttime is a different story. I find that the Samsung phone continues to exaggerate the sky again, and it looks even worse at nighttime. It sometimes makes the sky look so blue that it almost hinges on purple. And sometimes it gets mixed up with the lights that it's taken a photo with. There was one shot where I was shooting into a building and there was a purple light in the room, and the S24 Ultra completely turned that light into 4 big pixels, whereas the iPhone tried to expose it correctly. But the general consensus of taking night photos with both of these phones are pretty equal. I do find the S24 Ultra to be slightly worse on the 1x lens compared to the iPhone. I found that the iPhone just looked better and got more details. But again, the ultra wide lens on the S24 Ultra most of the time did do a better job than the ultra wide lens on the iPhone. But one of my favorite features about this new iPhone 16 Pro Max is the undertones and moods. I think this is the best way to apply a filter or a LUT to your pictures. Now, this is not technically a LUT, it does it in the pipeline, but the best thing about it is you can undo it. You can undo the mood or tone that you took a picture with and place another mood or tone on top of it. And because it's doing it in the pipeline, it just doesn't apply the LUT on top of it. It's actually exposing the shadows correctly. It's, putting the contrast or upping the contrast in the right places. Now, I know the Galaxy phone has filters, but these filters are more of a LUT. It just applies it on the image. And once you do, you can't undo it. It's destructive. It's stuck on it. As for video, the Galaxy S24 Ultra can obviously shoot up to 8K, which is great if you want to punch into an image. And just this year, the iPhone 16 Pro Max can finally shoot 4K 120. I personally still think the iPhone shoots better video, but the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra does a really good job as well. But look, at the end of the day, these are amazing phones. And I feel like if you're looking at the S24 Ultra, you should really look for a deal because Samsung is notorious for giving you good deals on their phones. Like they already have a simple one of doubling your storage for the exact same base price of the phone. And if you trade in phones, you'll get really good trade-in deals because Samsung tends to be a lot more aggressive with it. But if money is of no factor, it really depends on what you want. Like I find using the operating system and having all those cool enthusiast features makes the S24 Ultra more fun to use. But I love the video quality that comes at the iPhone. And because I'm a creator, it just makes more sense for my style of workflow. But everyone's gonna be different. Like you honestly can't go wrong with either device. And I know this is a cop-out, but you just gotta ask yourself what is the most important features you want in a phone and just make a list between both of these devices. And that will probably be the best way for you to decide. Unless you're on a budget, then you're probably not looking at a phone this expensive. But if you are, the S24 Ultra will usually give you better deals. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.